So one of the things that happened was with the big push right now in industry, everyone wants to talk about CBD because it's relaxing, it's calming, right? It's sympathetically calming. What that means is it helps the body, the musculature to relax, it helps your intestinal system relax, it helps you to feel less stress, right? All those things. But there's a big difference between the Copaiba's effects and CBD. Why? Because CBD affects things which are in the cannabinoid pathway, which are CB1, CB2. And the Copaiba works on something called the BCP, or the beta-caryophyllene pathway. Now, why is that better? And now I'm going to go through that just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to show you little slides. You can't see them, but I'll show you little slides. These are what I'm referring to from his super complex presentation, which I thought was amazing because I'm a hardcore nerd. So I'm going to go through his different things, and I want to show you at the very bottom, you can see all these cool little areas where he's referring to different parts of our body's receptor sites and how they activate what are called neuronal pathways or nerve pathways. They activate different things within the skeletal muscle system, and it's complex. So let's break it down. So the first thing they did in their study is they went out and they literally said, what are the best possible products you could buy like through Amazon or in the market, and which one is claiming to be pure? And what they found was, out of all the products they sampled, now this is a lab at the university, and they looked at it and they said there was only one they could find that was genuinely pure, meaning it contained all of the beta-caryophyllene type effects without carrier oils, and the only one they found was the Copaíba from doterra. The next thing they did is they looked at it and they compared it between the actual CBD effects versus the Copaiba's effects. And this is where it gets super cool and kind of interesting. Now I'm going to show you some again. I'm going to show you this little thing. And they start talking about the P3K, the AKT, the mTOR pathways in neuronal growth, metabolism, survival. And it's complex. And what we're talking about is at a genuine protein, or the very base effects of a product that you take into your body, how is it activating something and creating a change or a shift? And that's what let's jump into real quick. So I'm going to skip these slides. Oh, this is a cool one actually for major nerds like me. So what this shows is the opposite effects of Copaíba and CBD on the AKT phosphorylation. What I like is the fact that if you notice the regulation here in Copaíba oil versus you look at the CBD oil and you look at this chart or how it's graphed, over time what you're looking at is the fact that these effects, so to speak, of pure CBD oil are similar in the sense that Copaíba has similar peaks and valleys. So in other words, the body's going to see it as having the same capacity to create really cool effects in our body. These are the effects. We talk about up-regulation and down-regulation. This is really important. So this is where the joy or the awesomeness of a product comes into effect. What we're looking for are these crazy named things on the side, like your, well, I don't even know, they're the TGF beta, etc., right? You start looking at these. Well, what do they do? What's their function in the body? And this is your normal or control, meaning on a given day, if you're having a response to something, stress or frustration, or your body's hurting, or you have muscle aches, this is your normal body's response to a reaction. And then over time, how can we manipulate that response? So what does Copaíba do versus CBD oil? Here's what's awesome. The red, if you look at the numbers, is showing that it up-regulates a response. The blue is showing that it down-regulates. That's very important. Let me explain what's happening. What that means is when we're using something like CBD oil, we're actually down-regulating the protein production or the effects at a neuronal or a nerve pathway. So we're creating an effect, but it's not the response we want. We're literally causing an anxiolytic state, meaning we're becoming less stressed per se, but it's because we feel tired. It makes you feel more relaxed or tired, but not because it's reducing inflammation or pain. So when you look at the CBD, the Copaíba's response, we get just the opposite. We're getting genuine results. And this is, again, if you go back to their other slides, these are based on a genuine marker that is done in a lab. So these aren't just results from a person saying, oh wait, I actually feel less pain, or oh wait, I feel less tired. What they're getting is results chemically that show a shift. So when you upregulate a pathway that has to do with metabolism or proliferation, immunity, cell death, this is amazing to me, because what you're doing is genuinely activating the cell's response for a result. So for example, what that means is if you want to reduce pain, then Copaíba is actually more effective. It's 1.75, meaning it upregulates the production of specific types of responses that are going to decrease your response to pain, meaning you genuinely feel less pain. But more importantly, it's reducing the inflammation that caused the pain. So that's what's so awesome about that. So if I go to his next slide here, and you look at his different ways that he was describing this, let me go back to that. You look at the different ways that he's describing it, that one of the interesting things is that the way in which we administer or use Copaíba has different effects. Okay? So this is really, really important. So for example, if we want to bring it aromatically, we're going to get a direct effect from a pulmonary standpoint. So we're going to get a result in the lungs. So we're going to reduce some of that inflammatory response. We're going to get, remember, the other slide showed that we're getting an increased cell repair. If we're going to use it on the skin, we're genuinely getting a skin response. And if we're taking it internally, we're getting an increase in liver response as well as intestinal. That's actually really important, because oftentimes you hear from people that say, oh my goodness, my arm is really hurting me. So the muscles, let's say, and mine is actually. So let's say this arm is really hurting and sore. Does that mean it's best to put it on my skin? Or does that mean it's better to ingest it? And the answer is it's much better to ingest it, because we're going to reduce those pro-inflammatory response, meaning we're reducing inflammation, reducing soreness or achiness at a much higher level. And their tests showed that it's much more effective when you take it based on those areas that you have problems with. So if we skip through, I think that was the last slide I had from him. Yeah, that was the last slide. The next one was Andy Grammer, and that doesn't help us at all with Copaíba, but that was a really cool concert.
It's an awesome concert.
It was so good. So long and short is that when you start talking about, for instance, CBD, people immediately think CBD is going to make my body feel less pain, I'm going to feel less stressed, and really what it's doing is making you more tired. In general, it makes the body less responsive to what are called neuronal activity. It means the nerves themselves become less conductive. They're not shooting off information. So if you want to heal, you need to be activating that beta caryophyllene, or the BCP. So Copaíba actually genuinely heals the body, versus the CBD oil is causing a reduction in perception of pain, but it doesn't actually heal pain or problems associated with the cause. It just makes you feel more relaxed. So long and short is, I love the fact that for once and for all, we have somebody who literally scientifically looks at it and says, how are they different? They both make you feel like you're better, but one is genuinely making you feel better because it's healing the problems, and multiple problems at that, and the other one just makes you feel more kind of tired, less stressed, right? So that was my takeaway from it, is that once and for all we have this awesome science that shows us why the Copaíba is so much more effective. So hopefully that was helpful. I hope I explained it in a way that people get.
All right, as always, thanks Dr. Dave,
You're welcome.
And we'll probably roam around for a little bit because this is so awesome, and play with products, but this guy will teach you a little bit more. All right, bye guys.